I never quite understood why people want to jump out of an airplane. I never quite understood why they want to jump on a rodeo bull. But I guarantee if you see this snake, you will jump back. This is the prairie rattlesnake. It packs a powerful punch for a little snake. It only grows 3 foot long. It is found in many western states. We have ranches near Havre, Montana, where you can go and hunt for this rattlesnake. But be warned, if it bites you, you probably only have 2 hours to call your mama, because this snake is deadly. This snake has beautiful facial striping. It's usually found in prairie grasslands and rocky outcropping. Its diet consists of mice and small mammals.
This is Jim Diamond. He's going to tell us a little snake story.
Yeah, up in my farm in Ottsville, I have 2 little snakes that live up on the hill back of my house. And one day these 2 little snakes were hissing in their fit, and while they're hissing in their fit, the mother snake comes out and says, "What are you doing out here?" And the little snake says, "I'm hissing in my pit, mother snake." And the mother snake says, "Well, I don't want you to hiss in my pit." And the little snake says, "Well, mother snake, where are we going to hiss at?" And the mother snake says, "Well, why don't you go to Mrs. Pot pit and hiss?" So the 2 little snakes go to the pit where Mrs. Pot pit to hiss, and while they're hissing to Mrs. Pot pit, Mrs. Pot comes out and says, "What are you doing out here?" And the little snake says, "Well, Mrs. Pot, we're hissing in your pit." And Mrs. Pot says, "I don't want you to hiss in my pit." And the little snake says, "Well, Mrs. Pot, where are we going to hiss at?" Mrs. Pot says, "Well, why don't you go over to your own pit and hiss?" So the 2 little snakes go out of Mrs. Pot pit to go to their own pit to hiss. And while they're hissing in their own pit, while the mother snake comes out and says, "What are you doing out here?" And the little snake says, "Well, mother snake, we're hissing in your pit." And the mother snake says, "Well, I thought I told you to go to Mrs. Pot pit to hiss." The little snake says, "We did go to Mrs. Pot pit to hiss. But Mrs. Pot said she didn't want us to hiss in her pit." And the mother snake says, "Well, the nerve of that Mrs. Pot. I knew her when she didn't have a pit to hiss in."
So that's our snake story on our way to our hunt. All right, so this is the persecution of a rattler. Oh, he's on me.
There he is.
There he is. Oh, yes.
There he is. Yeah.
Got him? Yeah. Oh, you bet.
He's a big one.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
That'll be the day.
We kill them dang things around here all the time. Peg.
At Highland Hill Farm, we raise over 200 different kinds of trees and shrubs, and we can ship as well as we can deliver and plant from many different places. We have locations in Fountainville, PA, Lenoir, North Carolina, and McMinnville, Tennessee. So call us at 215-651-8329 for all your tree and shrub needs. Thank you.